Coming to the stage next, welcome Roger Nairn.
So to speak. Yeah. It's this is great. This is super fun. It's kind of weird having my entire family. If my therapist were here right now, he would say your family's never been closer and also at crotch level, which is weird. Super weird. Thanks so much for tonight. You're not looking at me. Fair enough. Thanks, Mom. So over COVID, I gained some weight and I developed sleep apnea. For those that don't know, sleep apnea means that in the middle of the night you stop breathing entirely. It's fucking frightening. But there's this great machine you get called a CPAP machine. Now you wear the CPAP machine at night, but it's horrible for your sex life. You put it on, you kind of look like a fighter pilot. You put this face mask over your face, and then there's a hose that connects to the machine, and the machine makes a bunch of noise. And so the ironic part is that I'm actually also afraid of flying. So when I go to sleep at night, you hear nothing but so it has not helped at all. It's been horrific. So as I'm trying to lose weight, I've really gotten into the whole like technology side of losing weight. I wear this ring. It's called an Aura ring. You can see it here on my finger. It keeps track of all of my movements. So, walking, running, all the different movements of health. The funny part though is that when I masturbate, it also thinks I've gone running. So according to my Aura ring, I'm a runner now. I'm a runner. I've never been a runner. I've never run so much in my life, actually. I run every day. I also run. I'm a marathon runner now. I've never run so much in my life. I ran a 10K in the shower this morning. It keeps track of a lot of my movement, and it's a lot of running. I've been really I struggle with depression and anxiety, and a lot of people have been giving me advice. They've been saying you really should try some kind of like exercise and movement. It turns out that my physical health though is way worse than my mental health. So that makes me super depressed. So I've actually gained a lot of weight because of it, and never been more depressed than when I started to do exercise. It's tough. One of the things that I was told to do is, cook more at home. So I, over the whole pandemic, I've been going to the grocery store more. Is there nothing more depressing than a big, tall man in a grocery store on a Saturday afternoon just bumping into shit and just like getting in the way of everyone else? But what I really get stressed out is with COVID. We talked a lot about the frontline workers. The frontline workers are the most important things that we need to take care of. And I remember scoffing at the whole idea of like a frontline worker being a grocery store employee. Like my sister here is a paramedic. She's a fucking frontline worker. Like give her a round of applause. Like, But I remember thinking that these, people begging groceries, they're not that big of a deal. But then I kind of got worried about COVID, and I started doing the self-checkout. And part of the self-checkout experience is that you have to bag your own groceries, and you soon realize just how fucking difficult it is to bag your own groceries. It's so difficult. So I'd stand there, you got a big line of people at the city market, and they're all looking at you like, why aren't you doing this faster? And I'm trying to put big cans on top of bread and big cans and shit, like fruit is everywhere, and then I'm crushing eggs, and I'm soon realizing these women or men are so good at bagging groceries, and I'm kind of wondering, like, help me, Obi-Wan Grocery, you're my only hope. Like, it's so difficult to do that. But part of slimming down over COVID, it was so easy to buy food online and get get food delivered online. I fucking love McDonald's. McDonald's is the best. Give me a Big Mac and I feel amazing. I gotta take a shower afterwards, but I feel so good ordering Big Mac. But we'll order through like DoorDash or whatever, and it's great. It's amazing. It's so easy. But we have kind of like a weird address. So every once in a while you'll get a phone call from like Moncton, New Brunswick or something like that, and it'll be the driver who's like, hey, I can't find your address, and I'm like, this isn't the app experience I wanted. Don't call me. I have no idea why we should be talking right now. Meanwhile, he's just gone 25 kilometers on his moped in the middle of winter just so I can eat a fucking sub on my couch in my underwear without getting up, and it's just like, this is ruining the entire experience. This is awful. I can't do this. From a mental health perspective, I sometimes struggle with anxiety, and my anxiety really comes out a lot when I get into like a really uncomfortable situation. So there's a couple uncomfortable situations that have happened in the last couple of years. The first one is, I'll just say like really awkward things when there's like silence in the middle of an uncomfortable situation. So I went for a COVID test when it was, we were early in the pandemic. You had to go into like a walk-in clinic, and I'm in there and I'm nervous, and the lovely nurse was explaining the whole process, and she says, okay, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna stick the COVID test in your nose, and your nerve endings aren't gonna really understand what's happening, and so they're just gonna kind of like clamp down and not really know what to do. And so I said, yeah, okay. So she sticks the thing in my nose, and as she's doing that, in the middle of the silence, I go, that's kind of like anal sex. Oh. And she just stops and looks at me and goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, and that's how I got a big box of take-home tests. Like, I'm not allowed back at that clinic anymore. The other weird thing that happened is I used to be a go-getter. I used to get up early. I used to work downtown, and I would go to a cafe downtown right underneath my building, and I used to like get a coffee and a pastry and just read a book with my iPad. And I went in there one morning. It was literally like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I walk in, just me, just the girl behind the counter, and I get my iPad out. I put my iPad on the table. I walk over to the counter to order, and as I'm ordering my breakfast, all I hear is, and I turn around, and it turns out that my iPad is connected to the Wi-Fi, and I guess I had watched some porn that morning, and all of a sudden it's playing some video that I did, and this woman is staring at me going, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it was all I could say in the awkward silence is, I think it's a threesome. And she looks at me and goes, it sounds like a gangbang. Here's your eclair. Just super awkward moments. I'm 40 years old, and we had our son when I was 36, which technically in these days is I'm an older dad. So when I show up to the playground, first of all, we only have one son. His name's Cooper. He's amazing. But having one son, you show up to the playground, and all the other parents kind of look at you like, oh, one kid. I guess the other kid is older and probably parking the car or something. But also, they look. Like nobody ever gives us any advice. They look to us for advice, but we have no idea what we're doing. We're just like everybody else. And so parents will look at us and ask us for advice, like, what do you do with your child, with your toddler who's getting up at 4 a.m. and waking you up? And we're just like, don't you have a lock on their door on the outside? Like there's no other way of doing this without, just doing, making your way through it. But everyone looks at us like, don't you have so much wisdom and advice? And we really, really don't. I honestly, I can't believe I get through the day the way I do. I'm kind of like a robot vacuum where I just kind of like shuffle between room to room, bumping into shit. occasionally eating something I'm not supposed to. I'll go into a room I'm not supposed to as well, and then eventually my wife will grab me by the shoulders and kind of like put me in the direction I'm supposed to go, but it's like I have no idea what I'm, like absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So our son is almost 4 years old. Just yesterday, actually, he pooped for the first time on the potty. Big deal, pooped. Yay! We've been, for the longest time, a lot of people have been telling us that we should use M&Ms as you know, a little bit of, you know, kind of getting him going. Like, you know, give your son M&Ms, you know, and it's, you know, it's just now worked. I've always wondered, as an old, like, marketing guy, are there some executives at the M&M company that are sitting around a table going, have we tried the poop conversation with our customers? Like, do they know that they can use an M&M to get kids to poop? Like, can you imagine an ad campaign, like, you know, Super Bowl 53 is brought to you by Nike, just do it. And Budweiser, this Bud's for you. And M&M's, great job, Cooper. Thanks for getting all the poop in the potty. Great job, thank you. You know, just before I go, I have a few jobs in the house. The only real job, though, is that I'm the director of entertainment in our house, which, you know, during COVID was a pretty important job, because as the director of entertainment, you're in charge of movies and books and music and all that sort of stuff. And so one day I said to my wife, what are you in charge of? And she said, everything else. And I said, well, I'm not happy with the leadership in this organization. And as a result, I just got promoted today. I am now director of Go Fuck Yourself and also alternative housing. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Thanks.